Welcome to episode 24 of Two Cents Tuesday. These days, there's just so much to talk about that I probably spend as much time trying to decide which of the topics I should choose as I do putting my thoughts together on the chosen topic. This week, after much going back and forth, I decided that I should speak about the fiasco that is the distribution of our new electronic passports. But I also want to look at the problem from a broader project management perspective. It appears that we just never learn from previous experiences. I distinctly remember when I was the Minister of Responsibility for the Public Service, having to deal with a similar problem. Back then, the problem was the issuance of birth certificates. What a disaster that was in the beginning. I remember people having to take long queues outside the Civil Status Registry office. The process to get the birth certificate was onerous, frustrating, and time-consuming. You'd have to make multiple trips to the Civil Status Registry, hoping, praying that your birth certificate had been processed. If you lived outside of Castries, these trips were even more frustrating, time-consuming, and very expensive because you had to be paying for transportation back and forth each time, only to find out that your birth certificate was not ready. When you eventually receive your birth certificate, chances are it would have an error that would require rectification, which itself was another costly and time-consuming process. The citizenry was rightly angry and frustrated. The people working at the Civil Status Registry were overwhelmed and under constant pressure. And the government was getting serious blows in the media over a process that was just not working. We encountered this in 2011, and my ministry, the Ministry of the Public Service, was given the task of fixing it, even though the Civil Status Registry fell under another ministry. What we did was to appoint a multi-agency team to tackle the problem, comprising officers from several ministries, including the parent ministry, and the Ministry of the Public Service, and in particular, the Department of Public Sector Modernization. One person, and I repeat, one person, was assigned overall responsibility to manage the project. And that person reported to me as the minister. In return, I reported to my prime minister and the cabinet of ministers. The mandate we were given was clear. The inconvenience to the public had to end, and had to end quickly, and a proper functioning system had to be put in place. This was accomplished, and today, the horrors of getting a birth certificate are a very distant memory. Why then have we repeated almost the same mistakes with the rollout of the electronic passports? Surely, we should have anticipated that after the long delay in issuing new passports, that there would be a flood of applications for new passports. This would have been compounded by the fact that we are in the summer holidays when people are looking to travel, even more so after having been prevented from traveling the last 2 years because of COVID restrictions. How could we roll out the new passports and not put a system in place to receive the expected large volume of applications? That's mind-boggling. Then, how could a solution be to restrict the number of applications to 50 and only on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays? Seriously? In this age of electronic communication, internet, and speed of light communication, that is our solution? We boast of DigiGov, and quite rightly so, because DigiGov is a good initiative, but we are reverting to an antiquated analog solution to facilitate the distribution of electronic passports. Something about that just does not make sense, at least not to me. We were on track some time ago to have community ICT access centers in all parts of our island that could have made this rollout so much easier and more efficient and more inclusive. What happened to that? Then I heard that the reason we cannot make a 10-year passport, a 10-year electronic passport option available to our citizens is because of security concerns. Now, this one completely baffles me, completely. If the electronic passport uses biometrics, then please tell me, how do our biometrics change over a period of 10 years as opposed to 5 years? Our fingerprints do not change. Iris recognition, if we're using that, does not change. Biometrics are supposed to make the passports more secure. The United States of America, the UK, Germany, and Canada, to name but a few, all issue 10-year passports to adults. Why must it be different for us in St. Lucia? What makes a 10-year electronic passport less secure for St. Lucia than it is for these countries? Like the younger generation says, please make it make sense for me. The rollout of this electronic passport has been an embarrassment, an unmitigated disaster. We need to devote the necessary financial and human resources to initiatives like this so that they can be executed efficiently and effectively. We must also always assign a competent, experienced project manager to manage important projects like this one. Someone who has the authority to communicate with and issue directives to all concerned, and who will give the responsible minister regular updates. Had this been thoroughly thought through, with every step along the way planned for and managed, we would not have had this series of embarrassing faux pas. Also, and again, I'm beginning to sound like a scratched, tired, old vinyl record, but we must understand and appreciate the importance of communication. We must communicate with the public, our citizens, every step of the way, so that they are aware of what will happen and what is happening. Public service announcements or a handful of talking heads on an NTN program that few people watch is not, I repeat, is not effective communication. Finally, we must treat our people like the valuable citizens that they are. I doubt whether anyone under the Citizenship by Investment program would have been made to endure what St. Lucian citizens have been going through to get a passport from the only country that they call home. We can do better than that. Please, let's do better. Thank you for viewing another 2 Cents Tuesday. Have a great week, and God willing, we'll see you next week. Goodbye.